Truth seekers, what's going on? It's Monday, and once again, we got reptilian talk. We're going to talk about these Anunnaki, which most people say were different types of race of people and beings. Some say they was the shining ones from historic information. Then some say that they could have been reptilians. So we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to combine all this together. Got a few surprises for you, but I think personally that they're one and the same, right? But you may think differently. Got my little notes here. So we're going to have more of a conversation tonight. I'm just not going to speak in just overly fashion, but I'm going to get you involved. I'm going to get some of you involved here in the chat as well. But what do you think? And that's the first question. I'll look in the chat. Are the Anunnaki, the Serpent King, the Serpent Legends, are they one of the same? Does history and information prove that they may be connected? Either way, we're going to go down a path tonight. So hopefully you have had a great weekend. I want to welcome you to the show, Roderick Martin, Truth versus Authority. And I am the Symbolizer, and we're going to go through that. So first of all, let me just start out by saying that there's a lot of mythological information when it comes down to the shining ones. This is what the biblical stuff says if you begin to go back and look into history. Now, we do know that most ancient cultures before religion, they all talked about some type of serpent, wisdom, and knowledge, and you name it. As you know, I'm wearing one of my latest shadow reptilian shirt. And like I was getting ready to say, as you know, I've been going down this path for quite some time. Not only talking about the reptilians, but the shapeshifters, but also the control mechanism, the reptilian rule, the agenda, but also the discovery that there is some knowledge behind this serpent knowledge. So if you go back to historical data or ancient data, they came down and supposedly then they're put together their watchers, and then their watchers began to find some of our lovely ladies that you all in this audience tonight beautiful, and they began to, make new babies, and those babies became giants, and then those giants had a problem with not the watchers, but the other folks, and ran them off, and then all of a sudden their bloodline is still here controlling us today, and there's a lot of proof into that. So the story goes in layers, but then also there's different names from deities to demons, you name it, the fallen angels, there's just so many different names depending on where you're gathering that information from. So I'm not here to try to dispel any of that. My thing is to try to put together, are we in this mindset of the Anunnaki? Now, of course, I'm in a community, if you can see my skin color, all the Anunnaki supposed to be like me. And now I do have this thing when I tell people, and they say, oh, they're black. And when you hear people describe black aliens, I'm going, are they black like in brown, or are they black like my crystals? Right? That's black, but that don't mean they're black people, right? So anyway, that's a whole nother sidebar. And maybe you can put some in the chat about that tonight, where are they black or are they black people? Now, that's another story, and that is probably for another show. But right now, we're going to talk about ancient Mesopotamia, the scholarly consensus that was. And as I have my notes here, it talks about the subject of Anunnaki reveals two distinct, largely unrelated fields of inquiry. One historical, methodical entity documented in ancient texts that we're going to talk about, and the modern conspiracy, or what I call the folk devil, has co-opted the name. To address this, one would say that academic consensus of what Anunnaki is a little different from what we've been told in some of the stuff. So just to give you a quick history, and most of you already know, we can talk about the Anunnaki, or a group of deities from pantheons of ancient Sumerians. So if you want to go back to that and figure that out, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. But then if you start studying ancient serpent knowledge, it goes all the way back to Sumerians, Babylonian, in Africa, in Israel, and all these places. And so what's true? But what we do know that carvings and everything else says that there was some type of worship of knowledge came from some being. Now, if you go to biblical texts and you start looking up Anunnaki, or in the Bible, the shiny ones, and then we talk about luminous ones, all of these things go back to start telling us that possibly they had some type of skin tone. Now, of course, we hear all of that. So I want you to put that there for thought for a minute. But anyway, so if we go back the name is variously in Sumerians, Anu, Anunnaki, or different names or whatever. But also, it translates as the princely offspring or royal offspring. That is the translation for the name. Now, if you go back to mythological or stuff, they believe that the offspring of a god or of heavens or whatever you want to call it was a little different when it came down to this. And so the oldest and most prominent member of the Anunnaki was Enlil and Enki, right? And so we already kind of know who they are, the Anunnaki gods. And to help illustrate that, I have something very special that I'll share with you real quickly. And I don't have but a few of them. I only got 4 samples in. They are going to be on the website, but specifically made for us in very high detail. They're not, but for those of you who want to feel the energy of that, look what I have. I have our Anunnaki tabletop, about 7 to 8 inches. This thing is in high detail. Oh my God. And it's just a novelty for us, the Anunnaki, the serpent gods. And I got these, and now I don't have 4 of them right now. And if any of you want one, I'll put my Cash App up, and you can cash out me. And of course, they're not cheap, but these things are made with highly detail, representing what we get into. So we're talking about the very thing. But anyway, so if any of you want something like this, I'll put it in the chat in a minute, and you can text me or cash out me with your telephone number, and I'll ship it out. But like I say, these are specialty items, and we'll get more into this in a minute as we go further. But yeah, so prepare when I put it up. Like, okay, so for example, on the website, these things are about $100. But this is desktop. This is about 7 to 8 inches. It's really big. It is Anunnaki and the king, and it has this wings. It sits up. You can stand it up, and you can put this on your job or whatever. And man, nobody has nothing like this. I had these specially made for us, but I have a few. And so if anybody want one, I'll ship it out $75. I don't have a 4. I'll get some more made on the website. They're a lot higher, but then I have to order them and all that. But I had them specifically made for our genre, and you can talk about that. But anyway, Maya can put our Cash App up on the thing. Let me put it up here just in case any of you decide that you want one of those. And let me put it up. But anyway, let me continue our conversation because we're going to go deep, and I'll read some of the chats and see if any of you at this point see yourself. There you go. It's right there on the screen. See yourself knowing anything, especially when it comes down to the Anunnaki being serpent or where we want to go. Now, there's a lot of evolving functions when we think about this. Early period back in the day, back in the 2000 BCE, the Sumerian text, the term Anunnaki was applied as the highest, most powerful, most important deities in pantheon back then. They were primarily functions was to decree the fates of humanity. So we're talking a beautiful thing. All right. So there it is right there. Like I say, if you're into this, and if you're into like I am, and I'm keeping one of these for myself until we get some more made, but man, this is beautiful. Let me put it up. You can see the detail of this winged god here. And man, this is beautiful. It's a conversational piece, man, you have on your desk or talk. But anyway, so I don't have a 4. So if anybody want one, then we will go from there. And all right, we got one from the greatness. All right, so we doing that. All right, cool. And but you know what? Let me I should have showed y'all some more shit. I got Lilith. I don't know if y'all know Lilith. Yes, I don't have one of these, the samples that I had done, but this is Lilith. Let me see if I can get her detail. Look at that detail. This is Lilith, right? You know who that is. Then, of course, I have the greatness, and we'll talk about all these in a minute. This is special truth versus authority, knowledge, serpent knowledge that we're going to do. And then the greatness of the only of its kind, reptilian, draconian piece. This is the only of its kind. You won't find this nowhere else. Reptilian, draconian. And then I have one, which is really up there. This is the serpent queen of knowledge, Naga. Let me see if I can get this camera to zoom in. Oh, let me get it over my face. There we go. Look at that. the Serpent Queen of Knowledge, Naga. This one here, it's like $100 bucks, but I'm gonna do $80. I don't have two of these. They sent me 2 samples. But anyway, if anybody wants, this is very detailed, man. Oh my God. It's big too. It's really big. Anyway, all right. So let's continue with the conversation. And let's, Lilith. That's who it is. That's her, Lilith. Yeah, I got one. That's just one. And it's about 6 inches. Sit on, oh my God. And is she fierce looking? Yeah, that Lilith is fierce looking there. All right, so let's get into the conversation. So we have one of our Enki already gone. So we're going to ship the one out. Thank you for the greatness of nursing the paranormal. And so we have 3 of these left. So there you go. If anybody want one, let's go. The Cash App is there, and I'll send it out to you with the telephone number and everything else. So do you think that the Anunnaki was serpents? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Let's get involved into the conversation. Do you think that the Anunnaki was what I would consider to be reptilian? And before we do that, let's wish Monica a happy birthday. All right. And that's a happy birthday for Body Electric Supplement, you know, getting 50 years around the planet there. I think she went on this hike in the mountains. I saw on her Facebook page, wherever it was. So we would go there. But let me continue the conversation so that we can get deep into it. See, when you start thinking of the storyline, and we're talking about the Enki and Enlil known as the decrees of fate of humanity. Now, this assembly of gods with an S, which all made all decisions, right? They were seen as the divine counterpart to the democracy or democratic legislation system of time. And this group likely included 7 gods who decreed, such as Enlil, Enki, Nana, Utah, and Anana. There was another one, and the term could apply to local pantheons of specific such. Now, when you start looking at ancient history or Greek mythology, you know, there's a lot of cross in between the names. But when I started doing my particular research, you know, and again, I've taken you all down this route, that there are reptilians, right? They exist. And if you don't think so, then I suggest that you start doing research prior to organized religion. I mean, go put forward religion, and you will find that every particular people on this planet at some point had some type of story of some type of knowledge that was given from the serpent or dream or winged ones. And when that happens, you already know it exists. Okay. And so when you think about it, then it is something that I think you should look into. And as I start looking forward and looking deeper into it, I discover, okay, we don't have to be afraid of the snake like they have us doing. You know, Jordan Maxwell talks about that, where they got us looking in the wrong direction for information. And we're, you know, and so we were built to fear the information. I'm not telling you to walk up to a rattlesnake today and go, hey, you so beautiful thing, and get yourself bitten. And then you'll be doing this Moses stuff of going up to the staff, and hopefully those who got bitten, you know, was at some point, what would they say, was healed. Don't go through that. I'm not telling you that still works today, but I am saying to you that for some odd reason, and odd is the word, that somehow everybody before that. Now, does it have anything to do with your reptilian brain? Probably so, because genetically we all have this reptilian brain. Doesn't anything to do with there are people still today born with tails? Probably so. Does that matter that people are still born? Well, the people that's born with tail, instead of them confessing that there's some reptilian in us, it's a disease. It's crazy, right? So when we look at the obvious, which I think anonymously, you know, is when God is being anonymous is coincidence, right? There's no coincidence, but when God's being anonymous, that there is a possibility that there is things out there that is happening that we should then look into. And so that's what driven me today into the story of that. We're going to then say, okay, what about this Enki Enlil stuff? Because once again, they were winged, they were serpents, or they had all of this stuff, and they're still here. The bloodlines are still here, all of these things. And why would we assume that the Anunnaki was black people, you know, like me and you, or me, not all of you, but me? and I don't buy the story. I'm not saying that they couldn't be some species or whatever, but they definitely wasn't walking around like I was and looking like me and you. And that's not how it was, because not a thing, it's not dismissed that the fact that we got fallen angels, we have all of these things, and they found that the women are men, or the women children are men, whatever, it was beautiful. Well, however it was, obviously these reptilians are sexual compatible with us, otherwise they wouldn't have made some of you that are in with some of this genetic bloodline that we all have. So obviously there's something there. Now we still know, once again, the conspiracy side, the Illuminati, the all of these people, blood rituals and all this stuff goes all the way back. And then if you think that's not enough, that there's a possibility that this Enki and Enlil stuff could be serpents, then you want to go to the masters of religion and go all the way over to the Vatican and let the Vatican building, they build a whole building saying that serpents and snake or reptilian is in existence here, and we're going to pay homage to them and give them a place where we're going to bring souls and spirits and rituals and give it to them. It's called Snake Hall. You think they was being creative when they did that? So, we're just going to call it Snake Hall. Otherwise, we'll have a Buffalo Hall, we'll have a Owl Hall, and we'll have a Worm Hall. And no, they call it Snake Hall. But then once again, all different cultures had some point talking about what this is. Now, I can detour and tell you that they're after our energy, is all about loose harvesting. That's the conspiracy bottom line of what we're talking about. But tonight, I just wanted to go down the rabbit hole of what you all thought, because you're talking about the EGG. All these different names was out there. If you go back to Akkadian texts, right? You go back to the hierarchy established distinguishing the Anunnaki from a group of gods called EGG, IGI, right? While the exact definition can be a little blurry if you think about it, but in many contexts, EGG, and I have, okay, let me give you my descriptions here. I got a grammar box over here to the right. We're going to move it over here to the left. It's virtual. Unlimited letters, unlimited conversations. If you find me, say something, misrepresent, whatever, blah, 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 you go in there and you begin the process of fixing it. I got unlimited letters over here. I mean, plenty of them for you. And if I misspelled anything, please go down there and do it. If you got to correct me in the chat, I'm going to tell you that it's about ego, and we're working on all of that here. So, but if you understood what I'm getting ready to say, I'm going to say a word, and you make sure you understand it, and without me saying it, you, right? I'm going to say a word, you. Now, did you understand what I was saying? If you were a hater, you. But I didn't really say it out and pronounce it right, so my grammar was bad, but you can go in there and figure it out. Or you can misspell it, because your brain works, the consciousness works. So use it, and don't be trying to correct me in the chat. All right, so let's continue to what I'm saying. I know we got jokes. So the Anunnaki and the foundation of mythological text, if you start going back, was a whole story. They talk about the Sumerian myth that the Anunnaki portrayed as the 7 fearsome judges of the underworld. Now, when we start talking about the underworld, that takes us to the fallen angels, or they were sent into the earth. And we always been talking about that. This is not nothing new here. We've been talking about it. And again, when you go back to the Epic of Gilgamesh, and you go back to the things that I'm showing you here, the winged serpent, why would Enlil, out of all places, be depicted with wings? This is not because he's some heavenly person. This is the godly situation. In fact, it's almost to a fact. I got a little video I made with Sora that I'm going to play for you. 10 seconds here. This is it right here.
This is my truth.
All right, so we're talking Alpha Draconians. We're talking about Alpha Draconians, people, right off the bat. Make no mistake about it. We're not talking about anything else but Alpha Draconians and who and what they could be and how they are rolling. All right, and so I'm saying to you, think about this. This winged king or god, Anunnaki, Enlil, and the serpent mythology and how all of this worked. Okay, so this is something that is worth you going into and thinking about the conversation. So, but are we? Are we looking at these things? Are we thinking about these things? So we have, someone said infiltrated spirit, love prevails, right? Then we have Jordan says weak and other stuff. There are not. So I don't know what Jordan is writing, but they roll the role of others. Okay. So either which way, I'm just saying that we have to think about what the true story. So my question to some of you all before we go deeper tonight, do you think that or is anyone even came across your mind that the Anunnaki could have been reptilians? Let's go with that. Let's put it in the chat and then we'll go from there. So I'll wait for an answer because I know there's some what I would call delay when it comes down to this, but could the Anunnaki be reptilians? That's a question. I'm not making it as a fact. I'm not saying that. Could the reptilians be Dr. Strange? That's my guy. He knows some stuff. What is your take, Dr. Strange, on the Anunnaki possibly being reptilians? Or anybody? Am I standing on the island by myself tonight? Am I really by myself? Do anyone else think about it? Because we can go all the way back to one of these books on my shelf somewhere around here with Zachariah Ascension. Now, he goes into it a little deeper. You know, he talks about the 12th planet, the hypotheses of that. We talk about the stuff, and he was talking about how there is something happening and coming in. He talks about Nibiru, all right, Nibiru, or whatever you want. And he claims that the Anunnaki came from an undiscovered planet within our solar system called Nibiru. Some people call it Draco star system. The stories are there. The stories are there. I think we should do a better job as a collective community beginning to connect the dots, right? You connect over here, I connect over here. And what we may find that there's a possibility that there are some similarities in it all. I will say that hardly. Okay, so real quickly, I want to let you all know, I'm gonna put this on the screen right now, events, tickets there and everything else. As you know, we started here in Dallas, our Beyond Reality event, Knowledge Beyond Reality events here in Dallas, Texas. Once every month, we're starting to kick them off. The first one was Brother Yosef, but we're going to do this online because it's Mercury retrograde. I didn't know, and it's like, hey, we ain't traveling during that time, so we had already scheduled it November the 20th or whatever. But you go to this website, events.truthversusauthority.com. And it's an online event, and we have limited space because we just didn't. Our motto is the 101, the 100 souls. We're going with those souls, and so if you want to attend that webinar, we're going to talk about sigils and symbols. We're going to talk about how you can build your protection sigil as well as symbol and sigils for your business to invoke people to come into your business, as well as invoke things to keep things out. Then he's going to teach the magic, digital magic of these symbols and sigils. I'm going to give you some alignments of things. Then he's going to teach you how to put the magic on it. And boy, we're going to do a great thing when we do this. And so we're going to shut it down pretty soon. People are already registering. If you have not, you want to go there, just look at the ticket prices, $47 for this knowledge. Come on. Then in December, we have Doc B. He's going to be here in Dallas doing his memorizing things before Christmas and give you the true things. Then in January, Billy will be down here in Dallas in January. King Simon in February. Billy will come back in March. We're going to have Yaya, right? Yaya's World. Y'all seen her on Instagram. So she's going to be here. And then Billy in April, and then we stop it right there, and then we have more. Aaron will be here. Aaron Lyons will be here in May. So you don't want to miss our Knowledge Beyond Reality events and stuff. But anyway, right now, register for Brother Yosef and I, sigils and symbols, lecture and stuff that we're going to be doing. You don't want to miss it because we're going to go deep. I'm going to show you a company that is using it, that everybody knows. They're a billion-dollar corporation using sacred geometry, sigils and everything, and they are drawing you in, and you will be totally shocked who that is. But you can use that same power too, is where I'm going with that, and you should be using that power, and you should be doing that as well. So let's look at to go down. Dr. Strange said to me, I think they depicted them as people with skin, but always associated with reptiles. There you go. All right, so that's enough to keep people going. Okay, but again, Nibiru, Sitchin claimed that an Anunnaki came from undiscovered planet within our solar systems. And real quickly, before I forget, our sponsor is the greatness of Phoenix Phire. Okay, Phoenix Phire. You go to in Phoenix Phire Juju. You go to their website and you will get some Juju stuff. Let me make sure these banners come down and you can kind of see. But the website is in the description of the video. She want to make some of this protection stuff. She's one of our sponsors now. And so make sure you support. She's a sponsor our events as well, and a vendor and sponsor. Make sure you go to her website because she made some shadow soap, Solarplex soap, put the Juju on it. We doing that somewhere at the events, but I'll start putting it here online, letting you all know where we're going with that. So again, that's one of our sponsors. And if you want to be one of our online sponsors, let me know and we will run that for you as well. So back to questions. Let me check the chats here and see where we're going with this. And like I said, there is a link in the description and there is one that you can go to as well. Babylonian artwork. There we go. So there we go. So she's saying Volumetric supplement says Babylonian artwork showed reptilians. Now, people, am I onto the wrong side of the fence by me dedicating so much time into the reptilian agenda, the reptilian rule, because it is something for us to understand. Now, once again, Jordan Maxwell says they have us praying over here, but yet there's something else going on over there, which is truth. So I grew up that the serpent was bad. If the serpent was bad, then why did it give knowledge? Why did it do this, right? And we know this, right? And so reptilian. So there was bad ones and good ones. Apparently, some came down. They needed a slaves or whatever it was. Some said, let's teach them knowledge because we were like roaches. We just didn't know nothing. We were just existing. And then finally, we got the reptilian brain, hint, hint, which tells me that although we all have source and we're creators and God with us, but this body that we're in apparently has been genetically modified. Now, that genetics also carries a lot of power, a lot of information, a lot of things that you want to activate, but they spend so much time making sure we suppress it. And when I start going down this route of reptilian route, I start discovering, all right, we have serpent wisdom. I'm using that word, be wise as a serpent. And then we have all of this other stuff. And so there's two parallels to this. And so my thing is to keep us in the middle. And then understanding the shadow work, the archetypes and all of that we have to go. But once again, if you go all the way back to Zechariah Central and he talks about Nibiru, then he talks about the 3600 orbit, that this something is coming back. He claims that this planet is long, tilted, elliptical orbital. And I think some people use the word of pole shifting, I don't know, but brought to the inner solar system only 3,600 years, every 3,600 years that it comes. And supposedly that's what it be. But again, they always said it's going to be on its way back. And there is a serpent Nibiru collided with another planet called Tiamat. All right. And in the early solar system, therefore creating Earth as an asteroid belt. So if you start thinking about all of this and you start thinking about the snake cultures and the knowledge is why I made these, or had them to make these. This is truth versus authority. And of course, we know the meaning of the all-seeing eye. We know the power of the serpent knowledge. And so therefore, these things here, and this is a tabletop version, and I have 4 of these. And like I said, if you want one, you can say, I want the pyramid. You can text me. I'll ship it out for you and everything. And $50. And this thing is nice. It's 6 inches tall. It is big. It will sit on your desk, but $50. And put the word pyramid in your telephone number or call and get your shipping address. I don't have before. We'll get some more made and they'll be a lot higher on the website. But man, it's this galaxy with the stars already in it and crystals embedded in this thing. And if I were you, I would get it. And they made a hole here because I told them to. You can put a crystal in here for the eye. If some of you got that decorative seeing for the all-seeing eye, you talking about a piece, desk at home, whatever, that altar, to put it on your altar, to represent clarity and seeing and the power of the this is made symbolically. Okay, this is why this symbol I had it done because there's a lot of knowledge in that. But anyway, I got four of them before we order some more down. But if you go to the website, they're going to be a lot higher. You can pay the shipping and all. But I'll do all that right now to let you know about the four. But anyway, Nibiru, the thesis had a profound cultural impact, detaching sentience, ancient history, and becoming the Nibiru cataclysm, right? Or the Planet X doomsday theory. Now, we always talk about it because they went all the way back to the Mayan calendar. The 2012 is supposed to be the ending, just like we have this Atlas and all this stuff coming. So we done been down this road 100 times, people. So you have to go. But now, when we start talking about the human origins, this is where it gets really interesting and a little more critical. Because if you want to think about, Sitchin describes the Anunnaki as humanoid beings, so to speak. He didn't go like to say reptilians, but his narrative of this was a little more humanoid, right? Now, they wasn't humans, okay? So we kind of figured it out. But so they had this mission of gold. Sitchin claimed that the Anunnaki first arrived here approximately 400,000 years ago, right? And he's been gone I think he's gone. So you can add some more years to that, couple. But their mission was to mine for minerals and specifically gold. And so we became the slave race of creation. And according to Sitchin, the Anunnaki who assigned us to mines or assigned to the mines, who Sitchin conflates with the Ijiji as part of this thing. Now, it was so much of a harsh labor that they couldn't get anyone else to do it. So let's get these dumb humans to do it. So to solve this problem, the Anunnaki gods Enki proposed creating a primitive worker. So when you hear these stories and you follow along Babylonian text, all of this stuff, then you're not talking about Adam and Eve, people. We already eliminating the Adam and Eve of this part, right? Because I grew up, I'm sure most of you, how we all came from that place or those people or whatever you want to call it. But if you go to Cain and Abel, the children and the descendants of that, when one killed the other, they said he was a reptilian. And then he told God, don't put me out there. They're going to kill me. And God says, no, they're not, because I'm going to put a mark on you. So obviously the smart God knew that there was other humans out there before Adam and Eve. And then he knew there were some other people out there because he wouldn't tell them, hey, they're going to kill me. And who is they? And they wasn't roaches, and it wasn't ladybugs, and it wasn't turtles. You get what I'm saying? So obviously the conversation is shifting, that there's more to meet the eye within the story. So possibly there's multiple Adam and Eve, but then one was a reptilian. Okay. And so we're still getting this in our mythological and stories and Adam, and there you go. But it's one of those things. So Lyrians to cats, humans to monkeys, reptilians to lizard. Yeah. And there's a story. There's a story. So Sitchin also talks about that. He says that this stuff would merely distort accounts of historical events. He took metaphorical and realistic or ritualistic language as some of the stuff that he talked about in text, and literally gods became aliens, divine chariots, and became spaceships, right? And mythological labor disputes of Ijiji became a historical count of gold mining. So over time, things shifted. The names shifted. The stories shifted. The lies changed. The lies got better, and they began the process of doing things a little different. So once again, we're asking the questions. Was Enlil and the Serpent King myth, because they both exist, was one of the same? Why would they have a problem that they put these watchers in place? Why would we have the story of the watchers began to breed with the children of man and began making the Nephilim, which was the giants? Then the giants had a problem with the main folks, and they start warring, and they actually ran the aliens off the planet because they probably wasn't a little more aggressive as this mixture of human and everything else. And then ultimately humans rebelled against the giants. So the rebellion is already there, but that doesn't mean that the bloodlines wasn't left here. And the bloodlines didn't continue. So obviously there are people walking this planet that are part Nephilim. There are people walking this planet that are part Watchers. There are people walking this planet that are part Anunnaki, original reptilian beings. And therefore these people could be called shapeshifters, which is what we think some of them are, or they can be lizard people or bloodlines or whatever you call it, or we use the word the royals, and we can continue to do that. So there are just too many coincidences that lead us to the point that there is a possibility. Now, my job is to give you enough information you can see, read, hear, or whatever, to awaken the curiosity to the possibility that the Anunnaki are reptilians. You know, that's all I'm saying. And that's all I'm saying. And we can look at that. And so we can continue to go down. Now, there was a battle for authority. This is where truth versus authority come in place. This is where we were talking about when Jordan Maxwell and others, when Jordan Maxwell put his little word into it, and he told us that we got to be careful, like right here.
Harmony, I think we're being set up for something very serious and very big by some very powerful secret societies that very well could have extraterrestrial or otherworld intelligence guiding it. All over the world, we have accepted the authority as truth rather than truth as the authority.
He makes a great point. We are accepting authority as truth. And when you have people like Body Electric Supplements saying, hey, you got these artwork and these paintings are everywhere. And we're talking 1,000-year-old paintings. I know these are archetypes, and so we all share these things, but these are 1,000-year-old paintings, right? And so again, Ascension, when he talks about the battle authority, talks about predated. He talked about a manufactured persona, is what he said in the expertise. His thing was that one of approximately 200 scholars on this planet who can read and understand ancient Sumerian texts at the time, and their books were based upon information written by the clay tablets. So they all derived this information from the same thing. Now, this presents a fundamental conflict because his claim that authority and his actual expertise had been an academic world. We already know how it is. So mainstream scholars, historians, linguists in the field all said that Ascension was not a scholar, that he possessed no relevant credentials. So now we go back down to it when he said that these things are humanoids or some point. Could he been working for the other side? Because once again, everybody before religion said that they were snakes or reptilian beings. Everybody. Now, I'm not saying this was a rumor. I'm saying everybody on the planet, no matter what culture they were, all said that there was some serpent beings teaching humanity knowledge. They all said it. They all said it. Now, if you want to go back to Enki and Enlil and them, and Anunnaki was the ones who came and started all this mess, and then everybody out there saying that they was reptilian beings, put two to two together to at least have an assumption. And I do believe assumption is the mother of all F-ups, but we're just going to assume that the facts are leading somewhere. Now, why is this more important to me? Why is it important to me to have this discussion with you all? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because I start seeing that there was knowledge in the serpent knowledge. There was a lot of stuff that we can learn from. There was things that they didn't want us to know because they want us to fear. And like I said before, some of you right now, we all can practice something and you can throw something up in the air and hit yourself in the head and blood start running down your face. And all of a sudden you see a big M flashing, you know, with an arch. You're going to be like, I'm not going there. It's McDonald's. And you see another thing with BK. I'm not going there. But then you see this two snakes with this little wings. You're going to say, whoa, wait a minute. That's knowledge, right? So never mind this Alpha Draconian reptilian with the wings look like that is standing around, but where all of a sudden that we think that's knowledge. Never mind that this reptilian here is a representation of the fact that some winged serpent was influential or influenced mankind and humanity. But once again, we only got two of these left. I see somebody else got one. So we got two of these left. And you ain't gonna find this anywhere. Ain't nobody got this. I had this specially done for our community because I like reptilian stuff. Y'all know it. And if you're into it like I into it, you can put this on your table. And I guarantee you, no matter who walks by your desk, wherever it is, they're gonna talk. They're gonna be like, what's that? And boy, the conversation starts. I'm just hoping somebody walk by and says and grin like, yeah, like what's up? Like, you're a reptilian? All right, that's cool. Talk to me. You know what I'm saying? But again, everything says that there is a different scenario. So what do y'all think about that? I see y'all having some conversation in the chat. I need to look and see. Somebody said, I want it. You can have it. You cash out right there, your telephone number, and $60. That's going to include me because I got a package. It's going to be $15 packaging this damn thing, making sure it don't break, put the box and the packages and everything else. I'll ship it right out to you between now and tomorrow. I got 4. I'm gonna keep one. So I got 3. Well, actually, we got 2 because someone else just bought one of them. But this thing is beautiful, man. This is cool. This is about the coolest thing I think, besides the Queen Serpent Naga, Nagas, the Queen Serpent, coming back. This thing is so detailed. It is incredible. It's a masterpiece. But again, these are things that are made for us, and we the only one got this, people, and to represent serpent knowledge, and that is a masterpiece. And like I said, that is a masterpiece. Of course, I love the Enki. Y'all know that. So, but anyway, so if that's what you want one, go ahead and use that cash out, unless you're just talking, and then we will go from there. So again, reptilians, Anunnaki, the lizard ones, the shiny ones, ancient knowledge, serpent wisdom, serpent religions. There's caves, serpent mountains, where they did a cave, and this thing is 70,000 years old before religion, and they carved out in a rock, supposedly a python head, and then they put all these crystals or whatever in there, and when you shine the lights, it gives this illumination. 70,000 years old. They're predating this. Okay. Everything goes back to this. And this is why I began to dig deeper, and I started recognizing, like I told you all, the reptilian shadow, which thank you all who got that guide. Man, I'm just sorry for those of you who didn't order it, but you're going to, whatever. That's another story. But what I'm saying is it's worth us looking into to say that there's something out there. And pretty much someone said they sent, let me check. Make sure you put your telephone number and there. All right, cool. I will call you tomorrow. And so I got one left for this Draconian. I will call you tomorrow and or later tonight when we get done. I'll text you first. If you're up tonight, I'll get your address and get it out to you in a day or so. It's beautiful. So we got one left. One Draconian desktop. Just think about 6-7 inches tall, y'all, people. So this is big. And you ain't going to find this nowhere. You're not going to find this one. And I had a different other reptilian I wanted to, but hey, the Draconian, Alpha Draconian. Okay. So again, we got one left. I just knew y'all were going to take them all. Nobody even asked about Lilith. They got one Lilith and the details of that. But this Anunnaki one, y'all sleeping on this. You ain't going to find that nowhere. You put this on your desk with them wings, spread it out, and it's the Anunnaki, and you talking about your conspiracy theorists? Shoot, man, are you kidding me? What? Yeah, we got 2 of those left. Are y'all kidding me? All right, so yeah, so that Anunnaki, yeah, Enki, that's what it is. Yeah, Enki, $75, people. Got 2 left. All right, so the question is, are the Anunnaki linked to reptilian? All right, so it's not found in Sentient. Sentient didn't say that. He said humanoids. But other people start to say everything about it. David Icke, let's start with there. The greatness of David Icke. He was laughed at in the beginning. He was totally laughed at it. David Icke laughed at the scenario, or they laughed at him, that there was some draconian, and of course he interviewed Credo Mutwa, the shaman and Zulu shaman, right? Y'all remember that? Yes? Nod your head like this, yeah. And he told the whole story of the Chikari or whatever the name was, Jakari or whatever, and how they fooled mankind. And so that'll send, if you can find that on YouTube, that'll send you on a frenzy by itself and the African stuff. And you should go back and look it up. Why wouldn't that be that the Anunnaki possibility is not them? Anything came from the sky was shiny. They're depicted with wings. They talked about all of this stuff. Now, that goes back, if it is true, and people are sitting here walking around that I'm a god, which you are, okay? And I have this bloodline of the gods in me, which you do, but you don't want to admit that it's reptilian. But yet, now, let's go scientific thing. The scientists say that we have a reptilian brain. We all do. Even David Icke talks about it.
You've heard about David Icke, probably. David Icke I brought here to America back in 1994. David Icke is famous for his talking about the reptilians and the reptilian presence in mankind. And this is true. He shows how inside the human brain, the two lobes of your brain, if you open the lobes up, there's a smaller brain inside, and scientists call that, doctors call that, the reptilian principle or something like that.
All right. So the reptilian brain. Oh, no, this is just metaphorically speaking, Roderick. They just call it reptilian brain because they ain't have nothing else to do. Now, when you think about the reptilian brain and its function, this is where anxiety, the negative side of things in society, comes in. This is how they do their obedience. This is how they harvest our loosh, because these other entities that's in another area of life, these archons and all this stuff, begins to power. They want our loosh and feed off that negativity. So if you felt a certain way, but if you start learning the serpent knowledge, hint, hint, you are going to integrate that reptilian shadow that I have in the Shadows of Deception guide. This is why I put a lot of the serpent knowledge into the context of what we're doing, because I've done a lot of study. And if you begin to understand the snake, and they have always said it, David Icke or someone else said, if you want to understand these people, these Illuminatis and all that, study the reptile. Plain and simple. If you want to get a better understanding of some of these people, study the reptile. And somehow you're going to start seeing a clear picture of how they operate, which, again, I put it all together for you in the 54 archetypes, and then you can cipher through that. But what I'm saying is, think about it for a minute. So let's get away from the negative connotation. Let's get away from this is bad. And I'm not saying there's not some bad stuff, but let's look for where we can win with this. What is it that we need to know where we can win? Okay, so we can go down a rabbit hole. Oh, I activated my Kundalini. What, the snake-like stuff within you? Oh, really? You activated this snake wisdom type thing that's in you? Oh, okay then. Does that mean something? Does that mean something? You get what I'm saying? Does that mean anything? So we can go there. Do we think reptilians fight with the Nordic aliens? I think there's a lot of different species out here. And we all try to say the tall Nordic or the tall whites, and there's all these different species. Everybody somehow has a problem with the reptilians, of course, because they violated the rules. This is why we have the problems we have. They were not supposed to mate with man, and they violated the rule. Well, they're descendants, because you got to remember, we have good ones. We have the Watchers, who were put in place to watch over humanity. Then we have the Watchers who violated the rules, who created the Nephilims, the giants. So we're talking about 3 or 4 descendants of something. So the original ones are probably coming back to take their planet back, or coming back to save humanity. And they're going to uproot the ones who are here, who are controlling humanity. And of course, we are the prize. So maybe there's a galactic federation who's going to go that route. I'll be sure to say that there's going to be. Okay. All right. So here we go. We have one left now. So we got one Enki left. Look, one of a kind. If you into ancient knowledge and you don't have one of these in your collection, sitting on your desk, sitting on 8 inches of this wing power, the symbolic power of this, that you got to know the symbols and all this is power. There's a lot of power. You can feel it when you're looking at this detailed thing, Enki and Enlil, whatever, the Anunnaki gods. Then, like I said, we got one left, and yeah, send $75 with your telephone number to Cash App on the screen. I'm gonna mail this out to you. We only got 4. I'm keeping one, and we got one Draconian left. All right. Nobody's talked to me about Lilith. You ladies should have been cleaning up on that. I don't have but one. Lilith. Oh man, yeah. So, and I'll make a deal. The sponsor, they send it as the thing. But anyway, you Cash out me with Lilith and 55 bones, and I'm sending this out. This is beautiful piece. This is the work of work. Not everybody's gonna get this serpent knowledge, the Naga queen. All right, so let's go back to modern reptilian conspiracy trope. Reptilian has always been ideal, even back in the 20th century, which had no connection to the Anunnaki, if you think about it. They had no connection. But how? Why would they do this? How would all of a sudden Hollywood and all these people? So Professor Michael Barkin, if you remember, the scholar in political science conspiracy theories, traces the idea of Pulp Fiction, Robert Howard, the creator of Conan the Barbarian. Y'all remember that, right? James, Earl Jones turned into the reptilian. He was the king. He wore the draconian thing on his head when he was on that horse. He had the wings on it. If you remember, James Earl Jones in Conan the Barbarian was the Serpent King. Yes? This is way back in early. I was a kid watching this thing. And when he turned into the snake, when they did the sacrifices and the worship, the Shadow Kingdom featured Serpent Man, who was humanoids with snake heads. You remember? It was right there. It was right there. If you get what I'm saying. The reptilian archons are the same agenda. Yes, absolutely they are. Howard Serpent Man could shapeshift right into humans and use mind control to infiltrate humanity in underground passages. This is why MK Ultra and all this stuff exists. And this is why you got it important to protect your mind, protect your solar plexus and all this stuff, because it's a spiritual thing. It's bigger than just what we see out here. Way bigger. Much bigger, by the way. And you got to understand that. Now, again, the idea influenced by another one was occultist Maurice Durrell in his 1940s pamphlets, Mysteries of Gobi. Look it up. Go do some research on it. And then we never forget the biggest of them all. Now, you got to be my age to really appreciate what I'm going to say next. Because if you ain't my age, which is 25 times 2 plus 5. You can get that. 25 times 2 plus 5. You can get that. All right. So we're talking about the miniseries V. Y'all remember that V, the TV series? Remember V, the TV series, the science fiction, most notable, it was in 1983, which featured imperialist reptile humans disguised taking over world capitals. And then they had the 1988 film, They Live. That's the year I graduated, which depicted a ruling caste of aliens among the humans. It's been there. I'm watching something now called Children's End or something, Childhood's End on Brother Joseph had me, and you're talking about a deep 3 episode and who's controlling us and how they doing it. Children's End or something. It ain't for everybody. It is deep. It's powerful. Oh, it is deep. All right. But go back to David Icke's The Biggest Secret. He talks about 2 separate theories, Sitchin's Anunnaki and Howard's Reptilian, was popularized again by David Icke in 1989. I got the book in there. It's one of the best. And it was called The Biggest Secret. Check it out. Yeah. And Icke explicitly adapted Sitchin's work and merged into what he called a pre-existing reptilian trope. Icke is not just an originator of this thing. He took it to the next level. He talks about it. And if you know, it's one of my favorites. I got all of his books that's how I got really hooked and never looked back. It's the most fascinating information and you can go because it goes from over here to over there. All right. So, okay. We have our Enki. So we have somebody taking our Enki, but they're $5 short. So should we give it to them or should they give us $5? They're $5 short. All right. So this is 75 bones. And they're taking one of the ones left. But anyway, we're going to let it pass on, though, because they're good people. Yeah, we're going to let them pass on. We're going to let it go through, though, because. But anyway, I'm just shocked. This is my. Listen, though, if anybody is good with sculpture, this was done on purpose because I wanted a crystal put here. I don't know how to do it. But get this and put a crystal there for the all-seeing eye and symbolize this thing and put it on your altar so that you get the serpent knowledge. Because you know this is symbols, right? You activate the symbolism, you put it on your altar, and that you can see the truth and do that affirmation. I'm more than physical matter. I'm beyond the physical world. I can see beyond. Remember, I taught you all that from the Monroe Institute of Outer Body. If you go back and look at some of those, I gave you guys that I do it, and you can start seeing. I can't tell you what it's like now because you are more than physical matter. You can see beyond this physical world, but it evoke the power of symbolism. And when you do this, and so $50, man. So I got 2 left, but you can put the crystal in here, put it on your altar or wherever. Look at the details of this thing. I'm gonna put it closer. Hopefully you can see it. And look at that. I'm gonna turn it to the side. Look at that. Yeah. Look at that one. And I'm telling you, you put that on your altar and it's off the chart. Oh, okay. So Lilith is gone. So I'll let y'all know Lilith is gone. All right. So Lilith and so someone is taking one of these two. So a person is getting these. Imagine this on your desk, people. Look at the power and Lilith. Look at the details. Oh, let me put it in my face. Look at that. So these are gone. This one. Well, Lilith, I only have one. And so, all right. No one is, hey, the best of the best. This is artwork, but you got to understand the queen of knowledge, Nagas. Do your homework on this. This is detailed throne and all of that. This is bigger than all of them. So just let you know. So it's taller, just a little bit taller, but this thing here. So anyway, we're going to be selling these. So you'll be able to get them on a website. They're going to be a lot more than what we're doing today. But you go there and then shipping, and it takes about a week or so to get them because I order them. But I have them designed specifically for us and in our folklore or what we're doing. And nobody out there have them. No one's got Draconium, Alpha Draconium, and then I'm gonna have a Reptilian warrior too. No one have these where you can put this as your conversation. Now, don't put this on your altar. Shit, no, don't do that. You can put Lilith. You can put definitely. You want to put an Anunnaki on there? You know what I'm saying? You definitely want to do that. All right, so let me continue. And we got one of these left. This is my favorite. I just like it because it's got truth versus authority on there too, right? Cool being, shit. Let it be. Cool being. All right, so as we continue, we can keep talking about everything else. All right. And that is what we're going to do. So when David Icke, we go back to him, he talks about the Anunnaki arriving on Earth and creating hybrid bloodlines. And he claims that the surviving aliens mentioned in Ascension were in fact a race of shape-shifting reptilian aliens. So let's pause right there. How much for the truth versus authority one? This one? $50. $50. But this one, I want you to put a crystal in it. It's cut out so that you can put a crystal and then activate it, right? So it's the all-seeing eye. The power of the Illuminati, symbolism, activate the power of the wisdom of the serpent and activate the power of seeing the truth in everything. And invoke this, all right? You got to understand that symbolism, sigils, and everything. Me and Brother Joseph will be talking about this deeper. This one is on this is to be activated. Put it on my little altar of information because that's why they do it. This is why Jay-Z and them hold it up. They're activating the power of the all-seeing eye. All right. And this is going to be really invoked and put it there. So, all right. So this is the one. And so we go from there. But anyway, $50 for that. And then, we can do that and make it happen. All right. Like I said, David Icke talks about, he claims that the surviving aliens mentioned that Ascension were in fact, again, or they was a race of shapeshifters. Now, how do we get to that? If we start thinking about genetics, think about you and your grandmother. So obviously your grandmother, you know who it is the mother of your father or mother. Okay. Genetics. The grandmother had a mother. The mother had a mother, father. And it just keeps going all the way back. So you are here from the descendants of hundreds of years. So why is it not possible that those Nephilims, the watchers who made it with the children of men, had babies who were giants and some look natural, are not still walking with reptilian blood within their veins? And it is said, depending on how pure it is, some can shapeshift and some have lost the ability to shapeshift. But that still don't mean they're not it. And then you're talking about some crossbred, and maybe the genetics got out. This is why I said, now, there were a royal line of them versus a regular one. And that's where I'm a little confused, because if they all come from the same descendants, we all are royal line, if that's the case. Change that out for Lilith. I don't get it. Change that one out for Lilith. I thought you put Lilith on there. So it is Lilith, right? Text me on my phone what you're talking about. But yeah, I put the Lilith. You got Lilith and the Anunnaki. That's the two you got. You didn't get the truth one. Yeah. Change out for Lilith. These are the two that you got right here. Yes or no? Just let me know. Yes or no? You did not get this one, which I think, I don't know why y'all didn't get it. But don't y'all worry about that. So why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Oh, change Lilith for the truth one. Okay, gotcha. All right. So now we got Lilith still available. All right. So he want this. So he's getting, which is fabulous, by the way. He's getting these two. All right. So cool. All right. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So Lilith, for you ladies or guys, whatever, look up Lilith in the power and put this on your altar. All right. And you can be thinking about it, but if you got the actual symbol, you can draw the power. You just activate that symbol. So Lilith is there. And yeah, so $70 for Lilith, and that'll cover the shipping. I don't have a one. We just have this one. You know, I have to get them to order. And it may take them a while, but I ordered different ones. And they sent me the ones, and I was like, yeah. And so, and I'm keeping, like I said, a few, and they're cool. They're really cool. And so we can go from there. All right. So with that being said, why wouldn't, yeah, she has power also. Absolutely, Lilith has power. Lilith has a lot of freaking power. Make no mistake about that. That's why I'm like just blown, that yeah, Lilith have power. And it ain't got to be, somebody say I got the Draconian. Yes, you did. Oh, yeah. So I still got one left, though. I still got one left of the Draconian. I got one, but I got you. All right. So where I'm going is we need to think about the lineage of the reptilian race. Think about the lineage, not lineage, but the lineage of the reptilian race. It's Captain Obvious. it is very Captain Obvious that it's a possibility, but they have the royals, right? And I say this because people, it's time for us to study the knowledge side of it, though. We don't have to do those snake rituals, but if it's in us, and the genes is in us, that's activated through your shadow and harvest the power, the insight, the knowledge, the wisdom, because they had more knowledge than us. They gave us the wisdom. You remember that, right? They said, bite the apple, the serpent did, and we're going to give you knowledge, insight, or wake you up, so to speak. Let's use the word woke. The serpent did this. So there is serpent in our DNA of doing that. But most people, especially in religious factions, didn't want us to activate that because they want us to stay obedient and controlled. And by doing that, you make it the devil. And I'm not saying Satan doesn't exist. I said serpent knowledge. Okay. So they made it to a point where you are not going to look in that direction for the power and information to utilize to be stored on you and your family. So it's a secret. And if you think that don't work, think of the Santa Claus story. I've told you that. So I've done it to my children. I told them that there was a jolly person with a beard with a Rudolph reindeer that was watching them all year long. And if they were naughty or nice, they're not going to get anything for Christmas. And yet I'm the stupid one. I was buying the gift for the jolly whatever. It was a secret. Why couldn't I just put my authority and say, you're going to do what you're told because I'm your father, but I have to use some deity of story? Well, they wasn't strong enough mentally to accept the Christ story, so to speak. So we dumbed it down to a Santa Claus. But whatever it is, we still need a control of the children. And then when they get old enough into the church, we put a whole new thing. And because, number one, there was knowledge that they did not want you to possess. And just so happens, every person on the face of this planet prior to religion, before materialism came in, by the way. Yeah. Before materialism came in, all of a sudden, practice. All right. So Adola says, are you getting more truth seekers? What do you mean? Give me a little more detail of that question. What camera and mic setup are you using, if you don't mind asking? I'm using a, the camera is a Sony S10 or something, Sony, whatever, I forget, I'll look it up for you in just a second. The lens is a Sigma 30 millimeter lens, which gives the bokeh effect behind us. So it kind of blurs out everything behind me so that people can focus here. But if I put my face here, a hand there, it will, if you notice, it's going to focus everything behind me at some point. The microphone is the Shure SM7B, which is the same mic, been around for 70 years. It's one of the best out there. They're a little expensive, $300. I did have an extra one here though, that I may sell. I had bought two years ago, and it's never broken, but I've used it. I use it in the office sometime, but you can get that, or a pod mic or whatever you want. Then over here is a Rodecaster Pro 2. This is the switchboard, is the Rodecaster. So I have a Rodecaster, and then I have the camera here. There's a mic, there's a screen here, there's a screen here, there's a screen there. Y'all can't see it. I have a whole new setup in here. And then there's stuff there. But anyway, so hopefully that answers your question for you. The Sony V10 or whatever, just look it up. It's a DSL. And then a Sigma 30 millimeter lens. It comes with a factory lens, but it'll be too wide. But get the 30 millimeter. The camera is about 3 or 4 feet away. If you get the 16 millimeter wide, then the camera needs to be right here, and it'll get all of this. Or you can get the whatever. But the 30 millimeter is what I use and what I've been using. All right. And then I have 2 lights. I got a big one over there. And one over there. So, and then the ones above is turned off. So that gives the halo effect here. All right. So anyway, let's get into the doctrines of this. and somebody saw you getting more truth seekers. But I'll continue. So when Ike started talking about the original Anunnakis, he started talking about the reptilian interdimensional race, which he calls archons. So this is where the connections of archons and the reptilians are. Now, they originated from the Draco constellation. Go look it up. This is why I have this Alpha Draconian reptilian right here. That's the whole purpose of this Alpha Draconian reptilian, all right? And we got one left, $60. You ain't going to find this anywhere else. Now, I'm going to have more, but they're going to be on the website, and they'll be $85 or whatever in shipping or whatever. But anyway, I got one left. Okay, so this is why the Alpha Draconian is so important. The reptilians come from the Draco constellation. All right. Now, when you go into the elite bloodlines, they ruled Earth through a secret network of human reptilian hybrid bloodlines, which he calls the Babylonian Brotherhood or the Illuminati. Okay. Now, Ike claims that the cabal includes the world's most leaders, elite family. Specifically, he always named the British royals, the Rothschilds, the Bush family, and I agree with him. I say 70% of our government, politics, and people in control are reptilian hybrids. 70%, without a shadow of doubt. That's why you can see what they're doing. Watch it. That's why they still do all these rituals and all that stuff. Watch it. 70%. And Ike has been talking about it, but it's the Babylonian Brotherhood. Fritz Springmeier wrote a book, The 13 Original Bloodlines of the Illuminati. They all go all the way back, these people, and go all the way back to Israel, some places too, I think. But where I'm going with this is, it is not hard. The truth statue seekers you sell. Oh, yeah. Okay, I just started today. I just started today, but we will be, there are on the website, but they will be, but these are the ones that I only had a few, that I had made for the samples, and I got one left, but we will offer them as I get into more symbols and teaching people how to activate those things. So that's what you meant. Yeah. All right. So once again, the archons originated from the Draco constellation, plain and simple. The archons came from there. Okay. And we can do that. Yeah. And we're going to do. The archons came from that. Now, the British families and all of that is from the hybrid bloodline. So now this is where I think most people miss the importance of the whole conversation, because there are some good ones and there are some bad ones. There are some bloodlines of the original good ones, and maybe when they crossed with humans, they became a little more human, and compassion, love, and all of these things began to surface within the mix. So that is significant when you start thinking about what was really happening there. Okay. And then you go back to some of these other things, which is very, very interesting when it comes to this. Now, when you start talking about shape-shifting and vampirism, that's a whole nother story. See, Ike, when he talks about it, he claims that they maintain their human form or dimension from drinking the blood of humans. They wear human bodies like a genetic overcoat. You get what I'm saying? And so now you're seeing what I call the spawns of lineages, right? So as it goes down, it breaks off, and then factions. That's why you have Illuminati, Skulls and Bones. They all begin to break in factions, but they still carry the blood, the DNA, but they all probably have idealism or whatever ideology. That's the word. Thank you, my grammar. But they have their own ideology based upon how they want to do it. It's incredible when you think about it. So it's not too far-fetched that we could carry the bloodline of these people or somewhere along the way, because we all have a reptilian DNA and you got a reptilian brain. But back to what somebody asked earlier, the archons. So the archons, they originated from the Draco constellation. The elite bloodlines, which is the rule through the network of human reptilians and blood. This is why when people ask me, well, how do reptilians, they're going to find you? Well, they can't see me with my vibration that stays high, not the archonic kind, but they're water barriers and carriers can't, because they're humans or part humans or everything else. Also, when we go back to vampirism, they also feed on negative energy, fear, hormones called adrenochrome. This is very something for you to learn. This is why everything I'm talking about exists, to get you to protect your energy. To get you protect your energy, right? That's important for you to know that this is it. And that's why I'm the only one that's really focusing a whole YouTube channel on this, because it's not just shapeshifters. It's not just reptilian beings. It's not just the other sides of it. Let me see what I'm getting. I set up, if you have time to bring some elaboration. Oh, yeah. Okay, we may not. We'll plan it the next time. And but where I'm going with this, but if just stand by though. Okay, be on standby. But where I'm going with this is, so you have all the different parts of this thing, right? You have all the different parts of where I'm going with this. And this is why I take us over here with the reptilians. And when I started out, I did it on purpose. People like shapeshifters, and that's all they want to see is somebody flipping lizard eyes. And then as I carried us further, we start understanding that now they're in world control systems, media, banking, food. They have an agenda to take the nutrients out of the food, to transhumanism. All of this stuff is the whole agenda. Now, there are other species of aliens, but they're not trying to control us. It's the war with the reptilians that's been there for quite some time. A Pacific part of reptilians, by the way. Right? And then you take from the reptilians to this part, then we can get into shapeshifting, and then we get into the archons. And then all of a sudden we start going down the rabbit hole of knowledge. Or not knowledge, but the parasitic types of this reptilian, the loosh that they want. And so when you get into loosh as humans being the energy form, then that does lead us down a road of, because it's our solar plex is the one that carries where that loosh is. The solar plex. That's what they want. That's why when you see depictions of them, they're attaching to the solar plex. And so that led us to begin to protect it, where I got the soap and the protection and the guides and everything else, the shadow, because you can't see it. But there's integration, and people talk about kill the shadow. You got to integrate the shadow. You have to integrate it. So now we move from shapeshifters, reptilians, to the shadow, to this, and now it goes into the mind, because the shadow is in the mind. That's where the obedience comes from, controlling the mind. Everything, like we're in the mind of God, right? And we're infinite consciousness awareness. We all are. We are all there is, has been, and ever can be, or ever will be. We are all this. Science, to know, not science, to the alpha, we're all this, right? So now we move from the loosh forming, the harvesting, to shadows, to protection, and now that's where we move into consciousness, right? Or protection of consciousness. But to do that, we go into symbolism, archetypal symbolism. It's still coming from reptilian over here all the way to that reptilian symbolism archetypes, which is what I did with those guides, which nobody's ever done. And the 54 archetypes of reptilian archetypes in everybody, in me, you, whatever. But if you can recognize it, get it, control it, or monitor it, it's going to be a powerful thing for you. So no one thought it was that complex that we go from shape-shifting over here all the way back down to consciousness. And we're talking about reptilian because the DNA is in us. They're bred. They put us in there. It's running through your veins, maybe subtly, but it's there. And for all of that, you produce adrenochrome. Now, this is where your soul comes into place. Because long as they can keep trapping that soul to come back to be inside of the body that they need to harvest the adrenochrome. See, if it's a soulless body, it's not going to have no energy. It's not a light being. It's not going to work. But now they create a system to get you to keep coming back. And you will think that it's so to be some elaborate plan to say, okay, it's just one plan that they have that they're going to keep us trapped. No, it's a system. And it began all the way down from childhood when you came into this earth, and the Rothschild said, let's give them an educational system. Now, it's a little condescending, right? Think about it. The educational system. But we send our kids to the educational system. Is that not condescending? Think about it in more proportional. We send our children to a system because it needs to be, it's where they're going to be taught, as though they don't have the ability to learn. As though they need school to learn. They didn't need that back in the day. But the control mechanism is there, right? So if you're going to, the Bible says, if you want to do whatever, you catch the child at the beginning. You know, we have a new member, y'all. So let's, with that smile. Thank you for the smile. Nicole has a Hollywood smile. You know what? Next year or year before, I'm going to get me all new bridge, all of that shit. I'm going to have that Hollywood smile too. I know you keep yours, but I'm buying one. I'm going to buy one, Nicole. I'm going to buy one. Yes. So by the way, like I said, if you have not registered for our Truth versus Authority Knowledge Beyond Reality events, I think I had a slide somewhere. Let me see if I have it here. Yeah, there we go. All right. So our Knowledge Beyond Reality events is there. And Brother Joseph is going to be online. It's him and I. We're going to do a lecture on sigils and symbolism. Doc B is coming to Dallas. Boy, we're going to have a great time when he gets here. And Billy is going to be here in January. So here's the deal. We're talking about 101. That's what we're calling it, 101. 101 souls are going to be blessed. Their life is going to change, period. Never before are you going to have a close environment, a close setting, asking those questions, hearing other questions. And then we have our VIP after that, where we're just lounging together in dinner, never done before. And I got some of the top people coming every month or so. And we only have 101, the 101, but the one is the people that's speaking. So anybody who's coming is the one, you want to be part of the 100. I guarantee you that if you came to half, one or two of these events, and if you didn't get a new perspective, you can have your money back. And if you are going to call and say, I didn't learn nothing, we know your spirit is bad, okay? But we're going to accept it because we're going to love you anyway, and I'm going to do what I said. That's what I'm talking about. But you're going to feel bad, though. You're going to feel freaking awful because you're going to set something in motion you do not want spiritually. But right now, y'all should be registering at events at truthversusauthority.com or go to the website for Brother Joseph's sigils and my sigils and symbolism and magic activation. So you can activate these altars and all this stuff. People, it is happening right now. They are controlling, making you feel everything you see is symbolism. All of this stuff. Your subconscious sees it, but your mind, you don't see it, but you see it. You're riding in front of them. They know that the 99% do not understand symbolism. But yet, I can give you a test right now. We're going to break open that. And then if you own a business, you're going to learn the symbolism that all these big major corporations are using, all the different parts to draw on sacred geometry. We don't even know it's happening in our mind, but yet we're giving them billions of dollars. instead of us talking about it, what if you can do it in your small world, your small ecosystem? That's what you're going to learn. So the early bird's $47. You can go register right now in this online webinar. We're going to be breaking it down, but our other events is live in person. So, and then Phoenix Phire is in the thing here. She's one of our sponsors. You can get you some juju, baby. Get you some juju. All right, so there is a darker analysis as I come to a close in a little bit here. And noted by scholars that, and they talk about Icke's narratives, that the narratives of a secret global cabal, the Rothschilds, that's blood drinking and controlled international finance, direct parallel to the anti-Semitic blood libels and the protocols of elders of Zion. The reptilians serve as literally inhuman, stand in for the inhuman character of the older conspiracies. Okay, people, we're not playing. This is not playing. And I'm saying to you, learn the language. That's all I've been trying to do. Learn the language, and then you're gonna move. But we're gonna get people who's gonna be laughing and looking, talk about it's a conspiracy that there's no it's in your DNA. You were born, you are like a lizard. You can't even live without water. You got to live close to water. A lizard. This was a water planet before the sun and all that hit it. It was water. That's it was all. So think about it. You 73% water. Earth is 73% water. You were born through water. Water. We're lizards, and so much saying. And so the question is, why? Well, how come I don't see the reptilian? Well, because they're walking among us. Well, how are they walking among us? I don't see. I'm woke. Like that matter. Like that matter. Like that matter that you woke and you don't see the reptilian. And you don't see them because you look like them. They're not looking a different certain way when they're in a human form. You look like them. They altered our DNA. Why wouldn't they? Anyone you with kids right now, if I walked up to you and say you look like your kid, you're gonna correct me and say, no, he looks like me because I made him or her. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. That's the whole point. That's all I'm trying to make. So let's go with coincidences now. Let's start looking at things on, it just makes a little sense. It just makes a little sense. Period. It really does. It makes a little darn sense, right? So I just wanted to have a conversation with y'all tonight. And I had a lot more. I'm gonna talk about this again on Forbidden Knowledge tomorrow. We're gonna go into a lot of stuff. Because we're gonna deeper. We'll go deeper into some of this conversation. Almost like a part 2, but we'll go. And you already know when I go on Forbidden Knowledge, they're going to buy all this stuff out we got left. I'm going to call and see if I can get a couple of extras quickly. But when I go on Forbidden Knowledge, they're going to know this Serpent Naga Queen. They're going to get this thing. This is the masterpiece. Look at the details on this. And it's sitting on your altar of knowledge, the protector of knowledge, the Naga Queen. Man, are you kidding me? Go look up Nagas. Yeah. And it's gonna be $100-some bucks on the website, $125 when we start shipping it from the website. I got two, $80. You won't find nothing else like this that represent what we're talking about. You're not gonna find it. You can go look. You're not gonna find it. All right. That's because I want to make sure we get something special. All right. So we still got Lilith, right? Yeah, we still got Lilith left. So if you watching this and the video is over with, text me or Cash App. And if I send you a thumbs up, you good. If I send it back, then if I send your money right back, you're going to know. Okay. And then you can go to the website and pay more. All right. We have one. So Lilith, if you do Lilith, put in a text, Lilith in your telephone number so I can call you and ship you $70 right here. Beautiful. Put this on, evoke the power. Okay. This is all for your altars, for your deaths, for symbolism for you to do. My favorite, of course, one in particular, Truth versus Authority, all seeing eye, the wisdom of the serpent. There you go. There you go. Okay. And then put a little jewel in there, glue it in there. Oh boy, you got something special. Anyway, we got one left. And again, if you're watching this and the video is over and you text or cash out, the cash app is on the screen. If I send your money back, but if I send you a thumbs up, then you'll know you're good. Okay. And I got you. But just allow a few days, 3 or 4 or 5 days for me to ship this out to y'all. And then the last of the Draco Reptilians, baby. You ain't finding this nowhere. This is a novelty. This is for the reptilian people who are into this like me. This is for us. Not for the conversation. This is for us. Us truth seekers of the shapeshifters. This is for us. Okay? This is for us. I'm telling you, this is for us. And $60 right there. And then last but not least, we got one left. As this is my favorite, Enki. Or Enlil, the Anunnaki. All right? The Anunnaki gods right there. That's when you're going to draw power. Use the symbolism of this power, man. You got to know the symbolism of these wings, that crown, the power that they put into this. They knew. Yeah, we got one left. And 75 bones. The cash app is right there. This is me trying to put us into the game of things that we believe in, study to be true. Things that we know is going to change lives, even ours and people who it evokes. And know that. So with that being said, I love you. I love each and every one of you. You know I do. If you did not hear the words I love you over the weekend, I think I did. But if you didn't, then I want you to know I love you, okay? And then y'all put it in the chat that says, y'all put it in the chat that I love y'all, so other people will read it later and see it, right? But I love you, in spite of whatever they say. There is no bad person, that's just bad decisions that we make toward humanity. And some of the decisions we all made them bad ones. You, me, everyone. But I love you, okay? And you are loved. And that's just how we're going to roll. We got haters. I had a hater put a chat on a video yesterday and said, I'm the most stupidest person he ever saw because the owl represents Satan. And he said, this guy don't know what he's talking about. I was petty. I said, you're a dumb ace. And I said, you're a one-trick pony. If you think the owl represents Satan, you are so far. And I'm not saying, okay, let me back up. He could have some symbolism that's what he was told. There's two things can be true at the same time. So let me go with that. But really, really, really. But that's how shallow people is. Imagine having a conversation with that person. Imagine this person is your go-to person. Imagine it's your husband or boyfriend or your sister, brother, and you got to count on these people. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. Jada Moon said, I love you. I love you too. Let me make it personal for you. I love you. And I love everyone. Like I said, I love each and every one of you. And we're going to do it. Adala said hey, I got one left. Girl, you want to get this. And I'm telling you, if you are crafty enough, and this hold, I had them to put this because I wanted to put a jewel. I don't know how to do it yet, but I wanted to put a jewel in this eye. It's the all-seeing eye, and activate the power of the all-seeing eye with serpent wisdom. That is a duality out this world. I'm telling you, it's a duality out this world. I got one left. Y'all can support it. Now, we also going to be needing founding members of our Truth versus Authority events. Now, I had two people. Remember, we was taking $300 deposits, and then that would have gave you a code for you can come to any of all our events. And when Billy, all of them come 50% off, whatever it's going to be, you come on in. And that alone for one event is going to save you, because we needed some equipment, right? The new projector, microphone, and I think was two other things. But we did get a few founding members. think we got about 4 more positions for that. And then you'll be noted every time we do our stuff. And so if there's something you're interested in, you can, the email address is contact@whythebigsecret.com. Let me put it on the board. And it's not for everybody. Don't worry about it. It's working. We're doing what we're doing. But also it'll allow us to, when Doc B comes, because, you know, we'll make some from the ticket sales, but we get that after the event. But before the event, we'll need speakers, you know, a special projector, not anyway. You got to have like a 5,000 luminous for everybody to see. And yeah, I did the equipment and stuff. It's like $1,500 for all that stuff. But either way, if you are interested to be a founding member, and like I said, if you can't do it, don't worry about it. The show is going on. It's going to go on. But this will be our last point of that. I think once we take off, we have now survived all of the things that we've been going through, and it's just a beautiful thing. So, and I want to thank all of you who've been here with us day one. He said we need a code to come to the event. No, you don't need a code, but if you are a founding member with the donation, you get a access code. When you do get your tickets, it discounts everything for you. So you don't need a code to come. But you do need to register. If it's online, yes, you'll need to register. We did our free ones, and I got in trouble with that this last time we did the free one. You know, everybody kept registering that there was coming. I kept increasing the room, and boy, I like to live there in that place. The bill was so big, and a lot of people didn't show. So I learned a huge lesson. And there's people sitting here now who registered, did not come. It cost me royally for them to put their name in, knowing they wasn't coming. And then we just kept increasing the size because, we need 20, 30, 40, 50. See, 70 people. And I'm calling on the phone. We need bigger space. We need a bigger space. Oh, that's more. Cha-ching, cha-ching. And people didn't come. It was crazy. It was freaking crazy. But I stood tall. We delivered the message. The ones who was there got blessed out of beyond measure. But it set things in motion that nothing will be as it was ever again. But I wouldn't take the lesson without saying that it was a blessing. Yeah. So you all who didn't come and bless me royally, because you sent some things in motion that I probably wouldn't even thought about. But that's cool. All that stuff builds the stronger thing. All right. So what that mean? Are you a Cowboy fan? Is there another team? I didn't even know there was another team out there. Is it? Is there another team besides the Cowboys? Really? Huh. Well, I don't know about being a fan, but I didn't know there was another team. All right, Lady Da. Much love to you. I meant to send those pictures to the symbolism and all that. But again, we got a lot ahead of us, y'all. We got a lot of special people within our organizations. We got a lot of special people within our community, a lot of people. And we're going to blow this thing up. We're going to take that 100s. Let me say this before I go. It's a lot of effed up stuff going on right now. I'm telling you, there's a shift in energy. There's a shift in what they're doing. The attack is on. And if you ain't protected and learn how to protect yourself with sigils and all this stuff that they use, shame on you. So you ain't got to come to learn it from me, but go. I'm giving you the advice. It is time. It is real. The energy harvesting is real. You feeling it. Some of you are feeling it every day you wake up now. It's not your fault that you think things are right. It is designed for you to go through what you're going through, specifically for some of you, based on bloodline or whatever. They are rolling at a high level down because it's getting intense. It is very getting intense. Smurfette, say I love you, Papa Smurf. What's up for Smurfette? It is very intense right now. I'm just letting you know. It is very intense. Yeah. I don't see where to do access cash out. Well, it's right there on the screen. The Cash App is on the screen right there. Right there where it says Cash App at $WhyTheBigSecret. Put a telephone number, and then I'll call you too, right, tomorrow. And then, but put in there you want the truth versus authority. you know. But when I get on Forbidden Knowledge tomorrow, y'all already know they're going, whatever's left is gone. It's gone. You already know that. The audience 10 times bigger than this, thousands of views, it's gone. They all in it. They're all in. I like to do stuff on here first, and then I go there Tuesday night, tomorrow night. They're gone. Everything is going to be gone. I'm going to even call tomorrow and see if I can get a couple of more early just to say, hey, man, I need a few more. But they're going to be gone. Everything, snap, gone. You think this Enlil and Anunnaki on Billy's channel, it's out the door before we boom, gone. The pyramid, gone. The snake, gone. Lilith, gone. Gone. They know, and I'm not saying y'all don't know, but we're getting there. But if they've been watching him a year or two, they're going. There were. But I do know that we got it too. We there, our audience, we're doing it. But yes, high energy is being hijacked. They're doing it on purpose. This is why sigils and the power of activation and protection is necessary. It's necessary. And it is done symbolically. It is done archetypal. It is done in understanding magic of all of this stuff. They're doing it. This is why they do rituals, and most of us don't even think about it. I tell you what, for you right now, it was $60. Okay, it was 60. But if it's 50, you send that right now. While we here, I'm gonna make sure you put a telephone number in what you're getting. Okay, and then I'll know. But anyway, it's 60. But we got love. Don't if you know in your heart you got the 60, do it. If you don't, send the 50 and just tell me you're getting the pyramid. I'm not going to keep it from you over that. I've been blessed. So, but yeah, you're feeling that way because they are doing what they're doing out here. Man, you see it. You see athletes. You see all these people. Even they got money, celebrities. Even celebrities are not happy because they've been snatched. They sold their souls. They sold their souls. And they all got hooked on this ritual sacrifices that they're doing. And sometimes you're doing it, you don't even know it. So I wear protection. I keep it. I keep it. And I learned this, and some of you heard the story. I was significantly or distinctively told, you better start selling or studying symbols and this, because where are you going, what you're about to do, your soul contract is this, get ready. And I never looked back since. I didn't understand it in the beginning. It was a little, little out there, tinfoil, but I was like, shit. Now, there's a lot of truth in it. Now, thank you if you're going to support tonight. Thank you. Yeah, for the pyramid. Yes. There you go. I'm sorry. It takes me time to look over at the chat. If I'm looking this way, I don't see it. So that's why you'll have the delay in me looking and everything, having a conversation with you. But this is the deal. It's the deal. So you got the underworld and the highest gods battling for us in the middle. And so we're getting hit from below, as above, and below. And we are the subject of the conversation. So when you see the elites sparring at the top for control, they're not fighting each other, or they are, but they're fighting for the prize, which is our souls, our energy, our obedience, our everything, our submission. They're fighting to keep us. We are the prize for them, but we don't have to be. And they don't care about some of us slipping through the cracks. This is what I want you to know. They care if everybody slips through, and then it's a bigger fight. But if you learn enough that, like we are doing, and you slip through, and you help a few, your family, a friend, or whoever, they don't have to be family, it could be somebody else because they don't listen, then that's okay. So you do want to look at it from the other side and Harriet Tubman your way and save as many as you can. Not everybody. You can't save everybody. That's not how it works. The world is too big. But you say that right one person and it turns into something else, you can do that. How much is the Serpent Naga shipping to the UK? That I don't know. The Naga is $80. This is the most beautiful I like the Enki and the thing, but we just have now. I don't know about the shipping. I would have to say that's extra. But if you buy it, put in the number, or we can email, buy, whatever way you want to communicate. We can get it to the UK. That's not going to be hard. I just need to figure out what the shipping costs, and I'll help with that with you. But we just need to do it. I can't promise that part. It can be shipped, and we'll try to get it out between now and Monday, or let's say Tuesday. Give me time. Let us work together. But put a number, WhatsApp, whatever way you want for us to talk, because we're going to meet each other, and then I will get it out to you. Okay. And I guarantee you will be the talk of the moment, and then activate the power in this serpent knowledge and the protector and wisdom and all that. So yeah, if you do that, you can be able. But like I say, I'll give a shout out to Neutrino Waves. But I will tell you, when I get tomorrow, y'all watch. When I get on Forbidden Knowledge tomorrow, they're gonna go. Just watch. Like what I said, the benefit of being free of this stuff. I don't know what you meant, but I'm just looking in on the chat. All right. So with that being said, I love y'all. I'm gonna get out of here to go. And then all of you that did get yours, expect a call from me. I'll text you tomorrow, and then you text me back. Or you can call me. I'll call you too, but I'll text you to get an address. And if you want to talk, call me. Because you'll get my personal number. I'm going to call you, and keep it. Because if you see a reptilian, anything, now you call my butt up, straight up, 10 pictures straight to my phone. Hey, check this out. Now if you're feeling weird therapeutic stuff, I don't really have an answer, but I'm just going to tell you, I agree with you. It is bad out there. And you do that. So, you will contact me. Well, if you buy it, you can put your number in the cash out, and you'll be able to do it. I know we can ship there. I just don't know what it would cost. So I wouldn't really offer it to say free shipping in this, because it may be half of this thing getting it there or whatever. But we'll work it out together. So you can email contact@WhyTheBigSecret.com, or you can lock it up. So when I get on Forbidden Knowledge tomorrow, it's gone. You already know that. So, just, it's up to you, but contact@WhyTheBigSecret.com. Maybe, one of the moderators will put it on the screen there, if they're still here watching. I'll put it up in the thing. I can put it on here. Let me see here. Let me see if I can put it on here. There we go. Right there. All right. So that's it right there on the screen. Yeah. Lady Da team here. Much love to you as well, and all that good stuff. And the kid, the reptilian kid, that's what we're going to call her. We're going to call her RK, our reptilian kid, her daughter. That's our reptilian kid. So she's going to be the future of truth seekers. We're going to bring her up to speed and groom and all that good stuff. So anyway, I love each and every one of you. I really do. And I said it before, I better get out of here. But if you do want, the email is there, contact@WhyTheBigSecret.com. The cash app there for whatever you're going to do, put the number, whatever. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to a lot of places. Make sure you register events at truthversusauthority.com. It's in the video. It's worth it to you to get your sigil. And if you got a business, we got a surprise for you. You want more business and you want to tap into the archetypal, you better get into the seminar. I mean, the lecture that me and Brother Joseph is doing. You better do it. Yeah, the reptilian kid, RK. That's who it is. Well, you know what? We're going to think something better. We're going to call her how you got the crocodile hunter? The reptilian hunter? Because I had a reptilian hotline. I don't want people to think she's a reptilian. So we're going to get a better name. But she's one of us. So I don't know about the reptilian kid, because somebody may think she's a reptile. We don't want that. We want power. We want, when they hear her name, they quiver and know that she's seeking the truth and that she's going to use the all-seeing eye and the power of that. So we're going to think of something together as a community. And who we're talking about is her daughter came to our event, and she stood up in front of everybody and started talking about reptilians. She was 11 years old, people. And she said, I believe they're here. So what do y'all think, real quickly? We need to name her, because she's the future part of what we're doing. So we're going to but she's going to be the future, like not a slayer, because we're not trying to hurt them, the reptilians. We're just discovering. But I don't want to call her the reptilian kid, even though it sounds good, but I just don't want somebody to think she's a lizard. I don't know. Is she? Mom could be a lizard. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want people to think she's a lizard. So we're gonna get a different name. What do y'all think, real quickly? Let's get some creative in the audience. She's 11 years old. She's into reptilians. She's a future truth seeker. We need her package of right now. What is your number, or should I contact you for the purchase? Well, I'm not gonna put the number out on the screen, but if you email right up to the front, contact@WhyTheBigSecret.com, then I will reply with my number. You can call me, but I'm not going to put it out here. Thousands of people will get it, But the email is right there under my face. So if you send right now, while we're talking, you send me an email right now, I will reply with my cell phone number, okay? And then we'll discuss that. But I can't, you understand, right? I'm not going to put it out here, and then we'll be in trouble. Somebody said Draco Ops. I don't know. I don't know we'll call her that, but Alpha got out of religion in 2010. Roderick, I had new. Yeah. So if you email, you like that one? What, Sand of Sun? Draco Ops? Huh. We can call her a UFO. Let's call her UFO. Underground female operative. She's a UFO. She's already mysterious. She's the UFO. They go like, UFO, yeah. But she's an underground female operative. She's our underground female operative, right? Why don't we do that? I don't know. Think about it. UFO. She's like, she's a UFO. Yeah. They be like, yeah, just unidentified flying object. No, she's an underground female operative. Yeah. Not UFO? Okay. All right. Mom says not UFO. Mom override all that shit. So I don't care what I say. Mom says no? No. Just letting y'all know. So, Mom says no. It's funny, but not today. All right. I get it. Well, we know she's a queen. So, all right. So last but not least, all right, we out of here. Let me end it. Good night, y'all. Y'all take care, okay? Let's go.
UFOs.
UAPs.
Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with a mention of UFOs.
A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the SA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Man, it's fun.